Discover the incredible, life-changing journey of Bentley, an unexpected tale of hope revealed in the fated town of Maplewood, where dreams lay buried beneath layers of rust and regret. Bentley Thompson felt the weight of the world on his shoulders. The clang of tools and the smell of grease filled his family garage, his only sanctuary amid uncertainty. At 28, he had become the backbone of his shattered family after a tragic accident left his younger brother, Zach, paralyzed. His world spun even more out of control. The debts piled high, suffocating his hope. Every bill was a reminder that their once thriving garage was teetering on the edge of collapse. Bentley wiped sweat from his brow and glanced at Zach, who sat in his wheelchair, fighting back tears. Their shared dreams slipped through clenched fingers like sand. Yet, in the moments they spent together, Bentley felt the pull of resilience. They would laugh over memories of racing bikes down the cracked roads of Maplewood, victorious shouts echoing in the twilight. Those fleeting moments ignited a flicker of hope within him. The townsfolk, however, cast shadows of doubt on Bentley's heart. "He's just a mechanic, just like his old man," they whispered. But Bentley bore the pride of his family name, refusing to back down. No one knew the bruises beneath his tough exterior, nor the thunderous roar of despair that echoed in his mind. Burdened with guilt, he struggled between caring for Zach and keeping the garage afloat. One evening, Mr. Harold, a weathered war veteran, entered the garage, dragging his memories with him. "Kid," he said, leaning against the grease-stained wall, "you've got something special. Don't let him snuff it out." Bentley felt a spark of camaraderie. Their conversations became lifelines. Together, they brainstormed ways to bring life back to the garage, reigniting the passion that once filled its walls. Hope surged within his chest like a tide. But Maplewood was not easily swayed. Whispers grew louder, fanning the flames of community distrust. "He's not one of us," they sneered, their eyes filled with judgment. Bentley felt the world closing in, a coiled spring ready to snap. It all came to a head at a town hall meeting where neighbors gathered, tensions ripe like overripe fruit. Bentley stood trembling, clutching the family legacy, torn between despair and ambition as he faced the crowd. Their faces turned to stone. A profound silence fell. He felt the weight of every life he had touched, every shared moment of laughter or pain. "We've all struggled," he exclaimed, frustration pouring from his heart. "We're not defined by our privilege. We're defined by how we rise above." The room held its breath. As emotion flooded Bentley's voice, his vulnerability laid bare. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As Bentley stepped back, a voice called out from the crowd. "What if you take the easy way out? Bentley, what are you willing to sacrifice for your family and ambition?" Those simple words pierced through the tension like lightning, leaving Bentley at a crossroads. The gravity of his family's legacy weighed on him, making his heart race with uncertainty. The crowd watched, waiting, as he contemplated his next move, an act that could reshape not just his family's future, but alter the very fabric of Maplewood itself. Bentley's heart pounded. The question hung in the air, a palpable challenge. What am I willing to sacrifice? It twirled in his mind, echoing against the walls of the garage he called home. His voice faltered for a heartbeat, but then surged like a tide. The faces of his neighbors morphed from stony masks to murky expressions of apprehension and curiosity. Each gaze promised a different answer, a different reaction to the truth he was about to reveal. "I won't let fear define me," Bentley shouted, the warmth of adrenaline fueling his courage. The words spilled out, each one igniting a flame that had long since flickered. "Every single day, I fight not just for myself but for my brother, for our family. I've watched Zach face each struggle head-on, unafraid. How can I abandon that spirit?" There was a murmur that swept through the crowd. Bentley could see some softening. A few people nodded, their arms crossed like barriers beginning to crumble. But the voices of dissent still loomed close, whispering doubt. "Talk is cheap, Bentley. Prove it." Came a reply from the back, a man he recognized, a longtime skeptic. Bentley's stomach seized. How does one prove hope? How do you quantify the fight swirling inside? "I'll open the garage. Not just for repairs but for this town," he declared, desperation mingling with resolve. Community workshop. A place to teach skills. A place for everyone. If we work together, maybe we can lift each other up. A wave of surprise rippled through the crowd. Some faces softened, others hardened. Bentley's mind raced as he fought to maintain their attention. He could sense the trepidation but also the tiniest flicker of intrigue. They'd never seen him take such a stance, never witness him embrace possibility so fiercely. But then Zach's voice suddenly emerged, clear amidst the chaos, surprising everyone. "And I'll help," he said, his words bold and unyielded in the face of uncertainty. "If Bentley believes in this town, then I do too. Let us create something that makes Maplewood strong again." Gasps filled the room, leaving a silence that felt electric. Bentley's heart swelled as he noticed the shift. Unshed tears glistened in Zach's eyes, embodying a strength he had always admired. But just as hope began to take root, the skepticism returned. "You really think a garage can change us?" a woman said, shaking her head slowly. "You have work to do, Bentley. Proving to us is one thing. Proving to yourself is another." Her words hit him hard, like a slap that echoed with truth. It was more than just the community's acceptance. It was Bentley's own belief in what he could achieve. Could he really be a catalyst for change, or would he just end up disappointing everyone, including himself? In that moment of vulnerability, Bentley felt the weight shift. Maybe proving it wouldn't come from grand gestures. Maybe it started with small steps, one conversation at a time. As the meeting drew to a close, Bentley knew the road ahead was steep, littered with unsteady stones of doubt. But in every unsure glance he exchanged with Zach, in every glimmer of hope that now reflected back at him from the crowd, he found purpose. That night, Bentley sat with Zach, their garage quiet except for the soft whir of tools. "What if this is our chance?" Bentley asked, the question hovering between them, fragile yet profound. Zach smiled faintly, a spark in his eyes that reminded Bentley of triumphs past. "Then we fight for it," Zach replied, voice steady. Together. With the sunrise peeking through the garage windows the next morning, Bentley felt the push of something new, a challenge that loomed. But the question remained. Would their dreams build the bridge back to hope, or would they crumble under the weight of impossibility? The answer lay ahead, waiting to unfold. The morning light filtered through the dusty garage windows, illuminating the scattered tools and half-finished projects. Bentley sat at the workbench, the shadows of self-doubt still lingering just at the edges of his mind. He glanced over at Zach, who was already sketching out plans for the community workshop. The sight filled Bentley with warmth, yet also a twinge of fear. What if they failed? "Are you ready?" Zach's voice broke through Bentley's thoughts. The younger brother's enthusiasm radiated warmth, a counterbalance to Bentley's worries. As the sun rose higher, it painted the walls with hues of orange and gold, chipping away at the darkness of uncertainty. "Yeah, I want this to work," Bentley admitted, running a hand through his hair. "This isn't just about us. It's about everyone. What if it falls apart?" Zach paused, his pencil poised midair. "It won't if we keep fighting for it," he said, his confidence an anchor for Bentley's wavering spirit. "We start small. If we can get a few people to believe in this, it'll spread. Trust me." The idea of needing the support of others sent a shiver down Bentley's spine. He had always been the one to push forward, the one who took care of Zach. Now he had to ask for help. Would anyone trust them enough to share their skills, their hopes? "Maybe we start with a flyer or something," Bentley suggested hesitantly, testing the waters outside his comfort zone. He could almost feel the presence of skepticism creeping back in. "Get some interest?" "Great idea," Zach exclaimed, the excitement in his voice infectious. We can keep it simple. Just focus on what we can bring to the community. Imagine a workshop filled with people learning how to fix their cars, make furniture, even teach each other hobbies. Bentley pictured it a gathering of neighbors, tools clanking, laughter echoing against the garage walls. It ignited something inside him, but the flicker of doubt insisted on reminding him. What if it didn't happen? After a few hours of brainstorming and drafting, they finally had a flyer. The feel of the paper beneath Bentley's fingers felt heavy with possibility, and he couldn't help but smile at the words they had printed. Join us for a community workshop. Bring your skills, share your knowledge, and let us build together. Zach seemed to sense Bentley's shutters closing again. We'll walk around the neighborhood later, he encouraged. Talk to people. Let them know we need them. That evening, as the sun dipped low and painted the sky in shades of lavender, the brothers stepped out onto the quiet streets of Maplewood. Bentley could feel his heart racing with each footstep. Handing out flyers felt so vulnerable, so personal. Would he face a wall of indifference? They approached the first house, an old neighbor who had often fixed their bicycles when they were younger. Bentley fumbled with the flyer, his palms clammy. "Hey, Mr. Carter," he called out, his voice wavering. "We're starting a community workshop at the garage. Would you want to help us?" Mr. Carter looked surprised, his brows knitting together. Bentley held his breath. But instead of the dismissal he half expected, the man's face broke into a smile. "I'd love to," he said, shaking Bentley's hand with warmth. "Been waiting for something like this." As they moved on to other houses, Bentley's spirits soared with each positive response. The warmth spread from his chest to his fingertips, filling the spaces doubt had previously occupied. Maybe this was what they needed. With every flyer placed in eager hands, every smile in return, Bentley could feel a shift, a community awakening, a pulse reviving in Maplewood. It was a beat he hadn't fully felt in years, and it surged with hope. But as the light began to fade and their stack of flyers dwindled, a voice from the past echoed in Bentley's mind. "You really think a garage can change us?" It was a challenge lingering, waiting for its moment, ready to rise again. Just as they turned the corner, Zach glanced back at him, the slightest frown creasing his brow. "What's wrong?" Bentley shook his head, trying to shake off the doubt. "Just we're not done yet. This is just the beginning." As they walked back toward their garage, a sense of determination flooded through him. But in the depths of his heart, the question harbored. Would they have the strength to keep climbing, even when the peak felt so high and far away? Tomorrow would demand more of them, and Bentley could only wonder what lay ahead. The next morning, Bentley woke to the sound of birds chirping outside his bedroom window. Like a gentle push, it nudged him from sleep, and for a fleeting moment, he felt a spark of hope. He stretched his arms and sat up, glancing at the flyer they'd made now tacked to the wall. A beacon of possibility, and he hopped out of bed, his feet meeting the cool floor. Today was the day. No more uncertainty, no more hiding. Zach was already in the garage, excitedly organizing tools and materials. He looked up as Bentley entered, his face lighting up. "Morning. I've got some ideas for the layout of the workshop," he said with contagious enthusiasm. "If we arrange the tables in a U-shape, it'll feel more inviting." "Perfect. Let's South make this place welcoming," Bentley replied, his heart lifting with every word. They worked side by side, the garage transforming into something that held potential, a space buzzing with ideas, laughter, and community spirit. As the morning progressed, they took a break and stepped outside. The sun hung high, bright and warm, bathing the neighborhood in light. Bentley felt a surge of energy, a strange mixture of excitement and anxiety swirling in his stomach. "Let us head out again. We need to reach more people," Zach suggested, gripping the remaining flyers. "Maybe we can go further this time, even across the main street." Bentley nodded, though unease crept back. "What if they don't care?" he said, the shadows of doubt nudging their way back into his thoughts. "Then they don't. But there are plenty who will. Remember Mr. Carter?" Zach's voice was firm yet encouraging. "We're not just spreading flyers. We're sparking a movement." With a deep breath, Bentley allowed himself to be swept along by Zach's enthusiasm. They walked from house to house, the sun now blazing overhead, amplifying their eagerness. Each knock on the door felt like a small leap of faith. The third house. Bella, a local artist with a wild mane of curly hair, answered. Her eyes lit up when she saw the flyer. "This is exactly what we need," she exclaimed. "Count me in to demonstrate some painting techniques." Her enthusiasm added fuel to Bentley's fire, a flicker igniting into a brighter flame. As they continued, they encountered Harold, an older gentleman sitting on his porch. He squinted at the flyer and broke into a toothy grin. "I've been working with wood for over 40 years. Happy to share what I know," he said, extending a calloused hand to shake. With every conversation, Bentley could feel a weight lift off his chest. His worries shrank against the tide of support surrounding them. This was more than a workshop. It was a gathering of stories, wisdom, and camaraderie that stretched beyond the simple task of fixing cars or learning crafts. By lunchtime, they had gathered not just a handful of interested neighbors but an entire tapestry of the community: moms, dads, retirees, and kids eager to learn and participate. Each interaction built something deeper than mere attendance. It built trust. Standing on the corner of their street, Bentley stared at the growing list of names on the flyer. "Zach, I can't believe this is actually happening," he murmured, overwhelmed. But as reality settled in, so did a new fear. What if they couldn't deliver? What if it all unraveled and left him exposed to the very kind of judgment he feared? Zach placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. "We'll navigate whatever comes next together. You're not alone in this." With a shaky breath, Bentley nodded, although the feeling in his gut twisted. The excitement was palpable, but so was the fear. A battle he wasn't sure he could always win. That evening, they gathered at the garage to discuss details for the opening day. Bentley looked around at the faces, kind, ready, eager. In that moment, he wondered if he'd finally found the sense of belonging he had long craved. Just as they began to set up, a loud knock reverberated through the garage door. Bentley's heart raced as an all-too-familiar voice called from outside. "So, what is going on in there?" He exchanged glances with Zach, caught between hope and apprehension. "I didn't expect to see you," Bentley began, stepping forward. As the door creaked open, the unexpected twist felt like a tidal wave threatening to shift everything they had worked for. What if this was the very challenge they needed to overcome? Or the very thing that threatened to bring their efforts crashing down? As Bentley opened the garage door, his stomach twisted into knots. There stood Lisa, his old high school friend. She looked the same, but there was something different in her eyes, a mixture of curiosity and concern. Bentley felt a wave of nostalgia wash over him, but the warmth quickly fled. "Hey Bentley, what's all this?" she asked, nodding her head toward the cluttered space behind him. "I heard you and Zach were up to something big." He glanced back at Zach, who was busy aligning stacks of wood, blissfully unaware of the tension creeping in. Bentley could feel the weight of Lisa's gaze, heavy and deceptive, like she was searching for secrets hidden beneath the surface. The doubts that had begun to dissolve earlier that day began to creep back into his mind. "It's a community workshop," Bentley spoke, his voice faltering a bit at the edges. "We're inviting people to come and learn different skills: crafting, auto repair, arts." "Seriously?" Lisa raised an eyebrow, clearly skeptical. "What makes you think anyone will actually show up?" The sting of her questioning hit him hard. This was at the moment where the fear he carried could reignite and consume him. He felt that familiar knot in his throat. Zach, sensing the shift, stepped in with a bright smile. "We've already got a list of people who are interested. It's going to be great. Trust us. It's not just about skills. It's about building a community." "But why a workshop?" Lisa pressed, crossing her arms. "You guys were never the type to organize stuff like this." The air thickened, and Bentley could feel heat rising to his cheeks. He didn't know how to answer. Part of him wanted to push her out the door and protect the fragile hope that had sprung up in this place. But there was another part that wanted to cry out for understanding, to share his journey, the loneliness, the feeling of being trapped, and how this workshop was meant to be a lifeline, not just for him but for everyone looking for a connection. It's important, he finally said, his voice softer yet surprisingly steady. Finding a place where people can come together and feel like they belong, it matters. To me, to all of us. Lisa seemed to study him, her expression shifting from disbelief to something less defined. I get it, she said slowly. But do you really think people will show up? A glimmer of frustration sparked in Bentley. You don't have to believe in it. Just because it's not your thing doesn't mean it won't mean something to someone else. All we need is a chance. For a moment, silence hung in the air, charged with tension. Bentley held his breath, waiting for her response. Would she dismiss him outright? Just when he thought the moment would stretch on forever, Lisa nodded slowly. Okay, I'll give you that. Maybe it will mean something to some people. A hint of a smile softened her features. Count me in for the opening. I'll bring some canvases. Maybe people will surprise you, Bentley. Her words felt like a lifting fog, revealing the sunshine that had been hiding beneath. For the first time since the flyer went up, hope flooded back into his heart. Maybe, just maybe, this was a starting point, a chance to reconnect not just with the community, but with parts of himself he had long buried. Thanks, Lisa, he said, feeling lighter. It really means a lot. As she moved to help with the setup, Bentley caught Zach's eye. The exchange between them spoke volumes. The journey ahead wouldn't be easy, but they had each other as backs. They worked side by side, laughter mingling with the evening air. But a nagging thought lingered in Bentley's mind. What if Lisa's skepticism echoed in the hearts of others too? What if this opportunity for connection slipped through their fingers? He shook his head, forcing himself to focus on the present. Just as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting shadows on the garage floor, a sense of calm settled in. Bentley took a deep breath, but before he could fully savor the moment, another knock rang through the door, sharper this time. What now? Bentley thought, apprehension creeping. Back in. With a quick glance at Zach, they both knew this wasn't just a routine drop-in. What lay behind that door might change everything they had started. What could be waiting for them on the other side? Bentley felt a jolt of anxiety as he exchanged glances with Zach. The knock echoed in the stillness, rattling the fragile bubble of hope they had just begun to inflate. He stepped toward the door, heart thumping, uncertainty racing through his veins. What if it's someone who wants to shut us down? Bentley mused under his breath. He hesitated, fingers hovering over the cold metal handle. Then, with a deep breath, he swung the door open. Standing there was a stranger, a man in his late 40s, rugged yet worn, with eyes that spoke of hardships untold. He looked lost, searching for something, much like Bentley had been not too long ago. "Can I help you?" Bentley asked, forcing a smile that felt fragile, like glass. "I saw the flyer," the man said, his voice gravelly. "I've been struggling to find a place like this. I just finished a rough patch, and I need to learn something new." Bentley's heart lifted. This was a real, living testament to what their workshop could offer. "Come in," he urged, stepping aside to let the man enter. Zach joined them. A quick grin spread across his face as he introduced himself. "Welcome. We're glad you're here. What skills are you interested in?" The man's gaze drifted, a flicker of vulnerability slipping through his facade. "I used to work with wood. Thought maybe I could help others out while using my hands again." Bentley felt a warmth spreading within him. This wasn't just a stranger. It was a flicker of what their workshop promised, something that could help heal hearts and build bonds. "Absolutely," Zach replied, enthusiasm overflowing. "We need someone like you. Could be a great way to give back while you rediscover your passion." The man nodded, a small spark of determination igniting in his eyes. Bentley figured he must have been hesitant to reach out, but now hope was blossoming. "Do you have a name?" Bentley asked, eager for a personal connection. "Name's Tom," the man said, his tone brightening. "I'm just a guy looking for a fresh start." As they chatted about possible projects and ideas for the workshop, Bentley felt his worry fade. He exchanged looks with Zach, who beamed back at him, their shared excitement palpable. Then, just as Tom began sketching out ideas on the whiteboard, another knock interrupted them. This time, Bentley's heart raced with a mix of hope and anxiety. Could it be another potential participant? Or someone with the opposite intent? With a quick motion, he opened the door again, and his breath caught in his throat. There stood a woman, clutching a box of old art supplies. Her smile was warm, but there was a hint of uncertainty in her eyes. "I saw the sign too," she said softly. "I used to paint, and I'm hoping to find my way back to it." Bentley felt a wave of relief wash over him. The community was starting to take shape, just as he had envisioned. "Welcome," he exclaimed, stepping aside to invite her in. "We'd love to have you join us." As she stepped into the garage, Tom smiled at her, and Bentley realized that this was more than just a workshop. It was a sanctuary for people like them. They spent the evening talking, exchanging ideas, sharing hopes. Bentley felt his heart swell with a newfound sense of belonging. But amidst the joy, shadows loomed. What if others didn't feel the same way? What if this initial burst of enthusiasm was just a fleeting moment? Bentley's thoughts spiraled as he caught a glimpse of Lisa standing at the side, taking it all in with a skeptical gaze. 3 people doesn't make a community, he thought. Yet, just as doubts started to creep in, Tom's laughter rang out, fresh and invigorating. Bentley joined in, grateful for this evolving opportunity, but a trail of concern still tangled in his mind. What if their shared journey faltered before it ever truly began? As laughter echoed in the background, a familiar feeling of optimism clawed at Bentley's chest. He needed to cling to this, but the worry lingered, whispering that hope could lead to disappointment. Bentley looked at Tom and the newcomer, feeling a push inside him. "Let us make this happen," he thought. "Let us seize this moment before it slips away." With that, another knock resonated against the door. Who could it be this time? An ally or a challenge? Bentley felt a rush of emotion, a cocktail of excitement and fear swirling in his stomach, wondering if this next figure would be part of their unfolding story or a curveball that could change everything. Bentley took a moment to steady himself. Each knock at the door felt like a drum roll, building suspense for whatever revelation awaited him. He opened it slowly, his heart pounding with trepidation and an unshakable hope. Standing there was a young man, hardly out of his teens, with an anxious expression. His faded jeans and a t-shirt bore the marks of someone who's done a bit of traveling and was seeking shelter, not from the rain, but from life's storms. Bentley's instincts kicked in. He sensed urgency in the way the boy fidgeted, clenching and unclenching his fists. "Hey, I saw the flyer," he stammered, his voice barely breaking through the weight of his hesitation. "Come in," Bentley said, stepping aside. The boy hesitated but eventually crossed the threshold, his eyes darting around the workshop, taking in the scattered tools, half-finished projects, and the vibrant energy of the space. "Name's Jake," he finally uttered, his voice steadier now, as he met Bentley's gaze. "I'm looking for a way to, find myself again." Tom glanced up from the whiteboard where he had been busy sketching a table frame. "You're in the right place, Jake. We're all just trying to find our way." "Yeah," Bentley agreed, gesturing toward some empty chairs. "What brought you here?" Jake hesitated, a shadow of fear crossing his face. It hasn't been an easy ride. I got kicked out of home, and I've been trying to figure things out on my own. I thought maybe if I could learn something, I'd feel less lost." A lump formed in Bentley's throat. He understood that pain, the feeling of being untethered, adrift in uncertainty. He felt a surge of determination, not just for himself, but for this young soul who stood before him, searching for a lifeline. "You're safe here," Bentley assured him with sincerity that came from deep within. "We're building something special, and you're welcome to be part of it." His words flowed like water, hoping that they would soothe Jake's frayed edges. Jake's shoulders relaxed ever so slightly. "Really? You mean it?" His eyes shone with a flicker of hope, and Bentley couldn't help but smile back. Just then, Lisa, who had been quietly observing from the corner, approached with cautious steps. "I think it's great that we're all here to inspire each other." But she hesitated, her brow furrowed. "We need to make sure we're ready for everything this involves. We can't let things fall apart on us." Zach jumped in, chuckling lightly. "Lisa's right. We need a plan, but we can't plan everything. Some of the best stuff comes when we're just being real with each other. They exchanged encouraging glances, a spark igniting faith within the gathering. Bentley felt it too. The dynamic was shifting, spinning with possibility. Every worry that had been pressing down on him began to fade as laughter and camaraderie filled the space. And we need to get started on our first project, Tom interjected, excitedly twirling a pencil. Let us maybe create something that captures our collective hopes? How about a community table? A place where we can share stories and meals? Jake's face brightened, the concept igniting a burst of enthusiasm within him. Yeah, I could paint it, maybe? See? Just like that, Bentley encouraged. This is how we grow together. But just as Bentley felt a swell of excitement bubbling within him, a deeper insecurity nagged at the back of his mind. What if all this energy, this promise of connection, was just a series of empty dreams? Another knock broke the moment, the sound resonating like a thunderclap. A part of Bentley was thrilled, while another part shuddered. Who could it be? As he approached the door, his heart raced again. Would this new arrival bring more connection, or further complicate their fragile beginnings? Bentley turned the knob, and as the door swung open, the silhouette of an unknown figure stepped forward, shrouded in mystery. Bentley blinked, momentarily stunned as the door opened fully. The figure standing at the threshold was a woman, her face half hidden under a wide-brimmed hat and a patched-up backpack slung over one shoulder. She had a fierce look in her eyes that quickly scanned the room, absorbing the atmosphere of hope and uncertainty that draped the workshop. "Are you Bentley?" she asked, her voice rough yet melodic. "Yeah, that's me. Can I help you?" Bentley managed, curiosity replacing the initial shock. "I heard about what you're doing here," she replied, stepping inside with a swift motion. The door swung shut behind her, cutting off the outside world, as if sealing in only the warmth of their gathering. "I'm Lila. I've been on the road for a while now, and I could use a place to belong." Instantly, Bentley felt a thrill of recognition. Like Jake, Lila wore her struggles openly, and yet there was a fire within her that hinted at resilience not unlike the flickering flames of a candle in a dark room. "Come in, Lila," he urged, gesturing towards an empty spot near Jake. She walked over, brushing aside a stray lock of hair as she settled into her chair. "What brought you here?" Jake asked, leaning forward with genuine interest. The initial connection was already forming, and Bentley felt encouraged by the interaction. "I grew up in a town where everyone knew my name, but nobody really saw me," Lila began, her voice softening. "I took off because I wanted to find something beyond what I knew, but all I found was emptiness. I kept seeing your flyers about community, and it reminded me of something I desperately needed: belonging." Tom, who had been listening intently, chimed in. "That's what this is about. We're building more than just a community table. We're building a family, a place where everyone has a seat and everyone has a voice." Lila's eyes sparkled, and for a fleeting moment, Bentley saw a glimmer of hope ignite in her. He watched her take a deep breath, absorbing their words as if they were lifelines. Just then, Lisa, catching the wave of energy in the room, spoke up again. "We all have stories," she encouraged, "and each one matters. Sharing them is part of the process, right?" That was it. The cracks in their individual facades began to show. Bentley felt an urge to join them, to contribute his own story, but the weight of his own past loomed large. What if they wouldn't understand? As if sensing his inner turmoil, Jake reached out, gently nudging Bentley's arm. "We're all in this together, remember?" With those words, Bentley felt a rush of warmth. This wasn't just about him anymore. It was about all of them weaving threads of their lives into something meaningful. I was lost too," Bentley finally said, forcing his voice steady. "I came here searching for something to give me purpose. I thought I needed to build things, but really, I needed to build connections first." At that moment, before anyone could respond, the unmistakable sound of a loud argument burst through the walls. Disturbed, they all turned, the atmosphere charged with sudden tension. Bentley's heart raced. Was this the storm he had been dreading? "Stay here," he instructed, unsure if he was more worried about the external conflict or the risk of shattering their newfound bond. What awaited him outside? Bentley took a step toward the door, fear mingling with resolve. He needed to protect the space they had started building, but would he be able to hold it against whatever chaos lay ahead? As he opened the door, the shouting intensified. Bentley took a deep breath, his pulse quickening. What was about to unfold could change everything. The door swung open with a creak, revealing the street outside in stark contrast to the warm glow of the workshop. Bentley's heart pounded as he stepped into the cool evening air, where the angry voices rang out like thunderclaps. The scene before him was a jarring mixture of emotions. A few tangled figures, shadows of angry faces lit by the flickering streetlight, their postures tense and aggressive. He took a breath, squaring his shoulders, determined to intervene. "Hey, what's going on?" Bentley called out, forcing his voice to rise above the noise as he stepped forward. The confrontation froze for a heartbeat at the sound of his voice, and a heavy silence hung in the air that a burly man with a red scruff and a scowl that could cut glass turned. His eyes filled with a mix of fury and surprise. "This ain't none of your business, man," he spat, pointing a finger that trembled in anger. Bentley noticed a younger man beside him, his eyes darting back and forth like a frightened rabbit. "Everyone deserves a chance to feel safe," Bentley said, trying to inject calm into the chaos. "Just talk to me. Let us sort this out." The older man seemed taken aback, but his fists were still clenched at his sides. "You don't understand. These guys think they can just take over." He gestured toward a couple of individuals who stood off to the side, watching the scene unfold. Before Bentley could respond, a familiar voice broke through the tension. "It's okay. We just want to help." Lila stepped into view, having followed Bentley outside. Her presence felt like a grounding force amid the storm, and Bentley felt a swell of gratitude mixed with worry for her safety. "Help?" The man scoffed, shaking his head. "You think you can fix this? You think you can just stroll into our lives and act like everything is fine?" Lila stood tall, her heartbeat steady beneath the surface. "We don't have to be enemies. You can choose to talk, to find common ground. We've all been lost before." Watching her, Bentley saw something shift in the man's posture. The tightness of his fists relaxed ever so slightly, and for a moment, the anger in his eyes flickered with uncertainty. Bentley stepped forward, encouraged by Lila's courage. "There are better ways to handle this," Bentley said softly, his voice carrying an appeal to the common humanity they all shared. "Let us not waste our energy fighting each other. We can build something better together." A shadow of doubt crossed the burly man's face as he glanced at the younger man beside him, who returned an expression of confusion. "What do you mean?" he asked. "Let us not big up walls between us," Bentley continued, his heart racing but his conviction clear. "We all have stories, we've all known pain, but we can choose to lean on each other instead of pushing each other away." Lila's gaze shifted from Bentley to the man, her eyes softening. "Imagine a space where we can all share, where our pasts don't define us. We've started that, it's what we want. We can create change." Something in Bentley's chest tightened. Were they reaching him? As the silence stretched, he could feel the fragile threads of connection weaving between them all, drawing them closer together, allowing hope to infiltrate the animosity. The man took a step back, his stance wavering. Maybe we could talk," he muttered. He turned to the younger man, who nodded slowly, confusion still minting his features but softening with curiosity. But just then, the rush of footsteps interrupted the moment. Bentley's heart dropped as more figures emerged from the shadows, their intentions unclear. The tense atmosphere thickened again, pulling them back to the brink of conflict. "Hold on," Bentley shouted, dread coiling in his stomach. What now? Would their fragile moment of truce be lost in an instant? As he faced the newcomers, adrenaline surged through him. In that crucial moment, he realized they were not just fighting for peace in their small corner of the world, they were battling for the very essence of community itself. But would they find a way to unite, or would chaos tear them apart once more? The scene shifted quickly. Bentley felt a weight bearing down on him. As he faced the newcomers, He realized he was at a crossroads not only for himself but for the entire community they were trying to build. "Listen," he shouted, stepping back to create distance, urging both sides to focus. "We're all here for the same reasons. We're looking for connection, for understanding. This can go one of two ways. We can keep tearing each other apart, or we can choose to build something beautiful together." The tension in the air thickened as the new arrivals looked at each other, then at Bentley. "Who's this guy?" one of the newcomers barked, crossing his arms. "I'm nobody special," Bentley admitted, his heart racing as he tried to quell the anger bubbling in his chest. "But I know we can do better. We've started a community workshop, and we want you to be part of it. It's not about taking anything from you. It's about sharing. Everyone has something to offer." Lila stepped in beside Bentley, her eyes fierce and determined. "You all have a place in this," she emphasized. "We convinced ourselves that being apart was the only way to survive. But it's time to shift our thinking. You think we're here to take away your power? We're here to empower each other. Just give us a chance." The burly man's posture stiffened slightly, yet a hint of surprise flickered across his face. Bentley caught his gaze, ensuring not to break the moment. "What if we work together?" Bentley proposed suddenly, grounding his voice. "You tell us what you need, what your stories are, while we get to know who you are. Maybe we can change things for the better, maybe we can help each other heal." Slowly, a sliver of intrigue cut through the tension, as if a window had opened. The newcomers whispered among themselves, their previous hostility softening. Then a voice called out from the crowd behind Bentley, sending ripples of shock and relief throughout the group. "This is what we need." It was Jake, his young heart brimming with belief. "None of us are going to know how to support each other unless we talk honestly. We can teach one another." The burly man turned to face Jake. "You think you can teach us something?" he asked, skepticism creasing his brow. "Absolutely," Jake replied without hesitation. "We all have something to contribute. I don't have the experience, but I know what it feels like to need help. We've all been there. We just want to create a space where nobody has to feel lost anymore." Zach emerged from the gathering. "We're working on this community table," he added, gesturing toward the sketch on the wall. "It'll be a physical reminder that we all belong here together." His enthusiasm was contagious, and he locked eyes with the burly man, delivering a genuine smile. Imagine that, a shared place full of laughter, stories, and support. Unexpectedly, interest sparked on the man's face. "A place where we can eat together? Share our skills?" "Yes," Bentley exclaimed, realizing hope was sparking again. A chance to gather, learn, and grow stronger. Together. A quiet moment settled as the man weighed their words. Then, he stepped forward with a deep breath. "All right, let us give this a shot." The crowd erupted in soft murmurs of surprise, some exchanging hopeful looks. The first man shrugged, still cynical but softened by the prospect. "If it goes south, I'll hold you accountable, young man." "Deal," Bentley replied, a grateful smile breaking across his face. With their tension dissipating, Bentley felt a surge of assurance emerging in the air, a collective pain transforming into possibility. One by one, neighboring faces turned to share their narratives, uniting their experiences like threads weaving into a shared fabric. Hours slipped by, as laughter, stories, and emotions filled the garage. They sketched plans together, leveling old doubts and nurturing relationships. Bentley felt unburdened, the warmth of connection wrapping around him as the sun sank low, casting golden hues through the windows. Bentley turned to Zach, who was beaming with pride. "Look around. We did this," he said. "This is just the beginning," Zach replied, his voice steady yet electric with possibility. In that moment, Bentley recognized something profound. This wasn't just about fixing cars or crafting tables. It was about healing, a transformative journey rooted in community. Together, they had cracked open a door that at one time seemed firmly shut. The community workshop was more than a building. It was a beacon of hope, an ongoing journey colored with the untold stories of Maplewood. They would rise together, and Bentley knew that with each step forward, they'd create a legacy of understanding, connection, and resilience as the night settled over Maplewood. Glimmering stars emerged, lighting up the canvas above, promising endless possibilities for those bold enough to reach for them. Now is the moment for you to be part of a community that believes in transformation. Subscribe immediately to this channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that could inspire you. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and spread this movement. Comment your feelings about this incredible ending and what it means to you. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. True fans know how powerful support is. Join the journey.